listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. Yeah, they're up to their old scams again. 100%. So think about how bad that is. Think about how bad that is. They have pedophiles they could arrest, but these pedophiles have money. These pedophiles have place in society. They want to use them for their advantage in the criminal enterprise that has taken over the government and everything else. So again, what they're doing is they're going out and creating pedophilia for their own personal and group gain and the security of what they're doing. In other words, if you look at your law enforcement thing and say, you know, you're not working like the FBI, you're not working, we don't see you arresting people, that would look bad, right? So they have to create a certain number of criminals so it looks good. But again, you can see through the cracks once they come near you. So it was their fault for revealing themselves. There's nothing wrong with traditional law enforcement. There's nothing really wrong with traditional sting operations as far as, let's say I'm a deputy U.S. Marshal looking at the government from a position. But yet, what we're seeing is not traditional. And also, if you're a Christian, sting operations could be seen as causing another to fall. So you have decisions to make. And no, don't just assume that God's going to forgive you. Because Jesus really wasn't into law enforcement. And why wasn't he into law enforcement? Because he knew that if you weren't corrupt, everybody would obey the law. Because they would enter into the law. And the law would power their lives, and they would be well, and things would work for them and everyone else. So don't let them tell you that they have to cause people to fall to keep your community safe. And I know you don't really believe it, but you're just such a piece of garbage because they let you have money or give you place or let you get away with a crime somewhere like the pedophiles in Chase Bank that I speak about. You're gonna go after somebody and cause them to fall. The scriptures are clear, church. The scriptures, don't tell me you didn't know. Willful ignorance needs not apply, church. There's no way you didn't know what you were doing to people, all of you. The sexuality that was projected is obviously, absolutely known. Because there's no way the woman didn't get hot somewhere. Whether she had a husband, a boyfriend, or self-pleasured, it happened. Girlfriend, whatever. They, them, orgy, whatever. So they send these police officers around with young children. And they set up what they would call a sting operation, but it's not a sting operation. You have to go through certain things before they'll let you have an okay day. I got to see, this thing's kind of, got to make sure my volume meter's working. I don't know what's going on with this. Okay, I guess it's working fine. It's just the jack. I got to order a new cable. Now, when it starts, the victim doesn't know. The victim's just walking along in life, and they're up and down in the victim, left and right in the victim, torturing the victim. Again, isolation is really torture. Now, for me, when it started, I figured, well, I'll just interact with them. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'll prove my innocence. Later, I realized that they're preparing fabricated reports. And in some cases, they can't because there's witnesses, but they say it's inconclusive. So they don't let you get out of the bullshit they put you in. Again, I've spoken about this 100 times, if not 200. So again, if I were in Santa Fe and I didn't speak to people at Ross, and anyway, I'm going to speak to somebody at Ross, I'm going to be a nice person to them and help them if I can. And I did. I gave them information how the world actually ran. If I didn't do that, my day would be much worse. I would be harassed at a higher level and possibly drugged with something that would cause psychological pain. Again, remember, that's what they're doing. They're causing psychological pain. And they'll say, well, only if the person's mentally ill. That's bullshit. They're causing mental illness. And they are sicker than sick and sicker than the sickest people that could ever be on this planet. They'll say, well, I arrested a pedophile once or twice in my operation. Bullshit. That does not cover the fact that you're creating pedophiles. That's a scam, actually. Let's go arrest a couple pedophiles so we can make pedophiles and $1 million per pedophile that we create for some gang boss in the government or private sector. That's the God's honest truth of this world. Why do I say pedophile? Because you brought a young child and presented her before me, while the other agents in their voodoo world willed up sexuality. And I smashed it. And God's smashing your world today. 2 state troopers gone. Bam. PA State Police are part of it. Don't be stupid. Did I do it? No. God did. Oh, no, God wouldn't do it. They were in charge. And they run some of our best bait programs. Or they could be innocent. They're in Babylon, all of you. You have the power to make it not Babylon, but you refuse because you committed those crimes and you want that protection. The protection of Satan, in reality. Can you imagine that? I mean, the adulteration of psychology for even a year, let be 30 years. I'm sure there's people out there 40 years. And they go, oh, see, I told you back in 1987 he was a pedophile. See? We arrested him in 1922 or 2022. That's how sick these people are. But guess who's in there? Pedophiles. What's the quickest way to shut down a pedophile victim suing you or alleging something later in life, which started up in the late 80s? Before that, nobody ever used to do it. I guess about mid-80s. You make them or cause spycraft operators and criminal people in government to say they're a pedophile. That's why they bring everybody in and pay them. Because what is that? Metaphysics exists. You're not going to walk away and say you're not with God or you're not Christian. This is the kind of shit they say. Oh, I don't believe like that. You see like that. Therefore, you need to understand that whether you believe or not, it's there. So when you bring additional people in and say, that's a pedophile, what do you think they're doing? They're doing the person to be a pedophile, especially if it pays their rent in some hotel somewhere. And they go, well, you know, when I was a child, this happened. Fine. This is what I do because I was raped as a child. You took the other side and became the rapist. That's a fact. You all went over the other side while saying this is the highest level of law enforcement. Buddy fucking bullshit. Then you'll be treated like buddy fucking bullshit. Again, nobody be violent. I say nobody be violent. Just speak the truth, because that will set you free. Because that's part of the scam. Oh, we need your help. And believe me, they used my help. They used my help in many law enforcement operations, many government operations, many social service operations, and wanted to kill me when I started speaking about not getting credit for it. Not that I need credit, but they're killing me in society as if I'm just this drag. And they got angry because why? They got cash awards. They sold things to the private sector. Open up their own business, possibly. And probably. You go out to the private sector and, you do it and I'll contract you and we'll split the money. That's everywhere in government. So when the government says, well, look, we arrested somebody like that once, didn't we? Why did the government do that? To fear the other people from ever talking about what the other people are doing. You don't think there's more than that one person they arrested that took money from Russia? Do you think there's more than that one person? This is the scam of the 90s, too. Ames. And what's the guy who just passed away? What was that guy's name? Hanson. Right. They arrest one and fear the others from ever talking about the criminal enterprise that they're soon going to probably see. Or engaging in it also. Somebody is moving narcotics with astronomical help that has to either be Silicon Valley, probably all of them, Silicon Valley, CIA, NSA. I don't accept it, all of you. I do not accept it. I defy you and I destroy you. Yeah, sealed. Over in Ukraine, Russia. They can't come over here and own $1 million apartment before you without sellouts in our nation. Same people I'm speaking about. Why do they get those apartments? Why do they have that life? Because they'll do what they tell them to do to harm a U.S. citizen. All our people are homeless, and they go, oh, bail reform, oh, liberals. You know why they hate the liberals when they house people? You know why? Because they're getting paid to kill them. And it's a lot harder to take somebody out psychologically when they're housed and with a group of other people. When I was able to overcome what they were doing? When I said there's not a single person on this planet that's above being a criminal. When the government comes in and makes them afraid and then pays them money. Now, there might be a few, but I had to say that so I never would believe that anybody was okay. Because that's how they lure you in. You're a social being. We're all social beings. So all somebody had to do was get FaceTime with me like that. And they would say something. Write a false report. That's why people don't get prosecuted for false reports. Because the government's writing them. The people that would prosecute it are it. So again, that was the only way to overcome it. And they're frustrated. I would show them, look, I help children and I'm attracted to women and I'm trying to get there. They would say, oh, it's dangerous. There's women there, and he smoked to a child once. This is really what they do. While real pedophiles are out there grooming your community all day, the government's trying to create pedophiles over here because they're the cronies over there. You get it? Now, it's not every case. They have to work a few real cases. But they have a psychological program that is causing people to fall. And they go, well, how could that? How could they do it? It's torture. It's psychological. Ma'am, that's a wonderful vehicle. She has the venue. It's nice. Thank you, nice. Where was I? She probably wanted to say thank you to me anyway. That's how the inside world works sometimes. Somebody wants to say thank you to you, or they'll create a situation where they can say thank you to you. But it's by the mind. She wanted to say it, so I said something. Again, that's how the real world works, and it would work if they weren't blocking it. Now, I would be a millionaire if they didn't block my life. I mean, I could have started like 5 years ago and been a millionaire. I could actually, like God said, I could walk down the street today and say, I could go in that store, buy the ticket, and be a millionaire. They're blocking it. But for the more legitimate ways, they're also blocking that physically. Now, one thing you have to understand, if I was a millionaire, I probably wouldn't be a millionaire, but I'd be comfortable because I give away so much money. I'd be better than Mr. Beast. So again, I thought that up, and then Mr. Beast existed. I ain't got thought that up. But again, I spoke about it for many years. I think I did before Mr. Beast really came on the scene. And I said, if we actually have people in our country that would be wealthier, but they give their money away. So when you're so wealthy, you're just a piece of shit. You just, money grubbed. But again, the question is, are you a devil causing other people to fall? But that's the reality of the world, and it's rife. Again, they have these psychological methods that they teach the local police and the state police. So the FBI comes in, they teach them it, they psychologically operate a victim, trying to force the person into crime, telling them there's all these big indicators and all these other things. And when they leave, they say, okay, we only operated them for a month. The other, till they return, the other people are operating them. The state police, the local police, the cronies in the street. No, it's fallen. It's the end times. It's psycho. They're insane, insanely demonic. But they look like what? Oh, here you remember I rescued your daughter, right? But who did they rescue your daughter from? The pedophile they created? And that's happened. So again, it's a very tricky subject to speak about, but it has to be spoken. You cannot worship people that are saving you when they're actually causing the need for you to be saved. Again, church, same thing. Are you okay or okay? Got a hood up over here. So again, it's institutions, and what are in the institutions? Crazy people. But what are they doing to everybody else? Making visibly crazy people. Because they're afraid that they'll be exposed if they didn't point to the other people. I work, not all of them, but I work with some of the craziest people that are on the earth. Once I understood what they were doing the whole time. I mean, I'm a non-commissioned officer, and a SAPR leader, and I took care of people. My other NCOs, my bosses, I did their work a lot of times. I did the work of an E7 on several occasions, just like that. And maybe say, yeah, you look great. How about it? Get promoted to E8. Some were black. So again, that they put the inference on me that I was a racist. Everybody bought into it. Why? Because they were paid. See? It's not only pedophile, but this came up right now because of what they're doing. I abhor them using children as bait, number one. Number two, I know what they're doing. Children are to live a peaceful life. They're going to be what they need to be without you doing that, all of you. And again, I've been speaking about this for decades, yet we look out, I look at the news and they go, he reads the news too much. He's got to be crazy. I mean, they're freaks, man. They come up with bullshit psychology and apply it where and when they want. And they don't even apply it accurately. So says their coworkers. Because they're not detectives, man. They're not real. They can't investigate. They're scam. They learn a Ponzi scheme. They learn a racketeering, a racket. That's why they do this. But I've been saying it for years. Look in the news. Look in the news. Look at how the women came out. These are all the vape girls and the vape women from yesterday. They're killing their husbands. They're playing sex games, getting insurance policies. Because why? You taught them how to be what do they call that? Like a dominatrix? I wouldn't say a dominatrix. Yeah, they forced that stuff on me. I looked at it for a while just to see what they would do, and they tried to cuck me and all that stuff. They still try it. That's what's going on here now. Along with a child being presented in the middle of it. And it's not how I perceive it, because that's how I read it, because I know what you're doing, all of you. Through God, I have been given the ability to read the thoughts of your heart. So again, we would call that a spell, a whammy, a curse. So like I said about on Twitter, and it's back up, and they wondered if I did say it again or not. I didn't say it, I withheld. So if you look at porno on Twitter, you shouldn't be seeing children mixed in with the search. There should be some sort of algorithm that parts that. If you're looking at adult pornography on a search, because they're gaming with it, that's why I say that. They're doing that on purpose. No, they're not testing somebody. So you're up in Drive, Sex Drive, looking at porn or something like that. And they're going to present children before you because they're trying to cross-wire you. No, I don't want to have sex with a couple. That was a scam, all of you. Because you tried to make me do it. I went with it. I never had sex with a couple. But I do porn in that direction. And then watch what they did with it. Tried to cuck you sexually. You do what they want sexually. You look at the porn they want to. And then you start presenting children. While there's women out there that you have to talk to, or you'll have a bad day, that are going to try to turn you on. Like I told you, there was a woman that worked at TJ Maxx. Now, I never sexually did anything ever in TJ Maxx. Ever. in my lifetime, or anytime outside my lifetime. But there was a woman in there I walked in that they were trying to hook me up with, but she was going to ignore me, probably an agent or something like that. I've never felt a sexual turn on stronger than that in my entire life. But of course, it's not real, so it's right from Satan. But it could have been real. Do you know what the reality of that is? We could have been, again, God said you have a soulmate. But if that don't work, you have soulmates. Now, this is in the physical existence. Oh, right. God says it reverses. So this is how it works. God wants you to be with somebody, tells you to go and be with somebody, right? If you don't get with that person here, because remember, if you go back to heaven, you don't have a soulmate. Right. So part of this planet is you get a soulmate, but then it backs up all the way through time to be that soulmate, which means you could find somebody and you think it's your soulmate and it doesn't work. Well, God erases that. And if you go through this planet and there is no soulmate, then of course God will take care of you when you leave the planet. And if you're here in a relationship that you can't, like I spoke to one guy one time, and he in a gym in Naples. And I thought his wife was wonderful. And I think she was becoming pregnant at the time. And, I'm like, yeah, you're going to be with her forever. And because I was trying to teach him something. And I said, you're going to be with your wife forever. And for me, if I married her, I'd be with her forever. I'm awake and aware. So I said to the guy, that's your wife. You're going to be with her forever. And he goes, oh, no, I'm not going to be with her forever. I'm like, what? So in reality, most people don't understand what that relationship is supposed to be. Well, how about me and my first wife? I was asleep. That was a scam. When I woke up, God said your wife cheated on you all the way through that marriage, and I wouldn't have had you marry her to begin with. But because you were there and she was suffering, we rescued her. Because they were putting you into that. The only thing is you couldn't get divorced fast enough because the others were cursing you, were asleep, and you couldn't hear me. So what they do is they put people in so they can spell their victim. And they spell their victim into crime, adulterated sexuality. No, there's no way to fight it because remember, there is limited of God's power on this planet. Jesus said this is not the Father's kingdom. It's a devil-spawned community. So again, they put all these people in to spell you, to be gay, to be cucked, to be this and that. Now go back to Omar Mateen. Let's go back to Omar Mateen, the guy that shot up the Pulse nightclub. Now, when I bring it up, if you can hear spiritual voices, if God has gifted you that way, you will hear that they deserve to die anyway. There are people that believe that the Pulse nightclub was an operation of God to kill gay people. I will tell you right now, Omar Mateen's father worked with the FBI. It's history. It's known. Somebody wanted to take out his son probably for that work. So they brought in a bunch of people. Could have been another law enforcement officer. Could have been an FBI agent that didn't like the other FBI agent. That's how whacked it is. That's how whacked it is. But they took out Omar Mateen's son with that program. They go, we hadn't operated him in 10 months. Well, you just let me in on something that I know and the rest of the world probably doesn't know or afraid to speak about. You psychologically operated Omar Mateen. You screwed up his mind, and then he shot up Pulse nightclub. No doubt. No questions. But how did they do that? Sexualization, cucking, trying to force gay on a man that needs to be heterosexual by birth, by religion, by lifestyle, by marriage. So again, if you're gay, you're gay. I'm not going to bother with telling you what you're supposed to be, but that's why the church and the government focus on that so much, because they're going to straighten it all out for you. Because they don't want you to know that they're manipulating sexuality. Now, the Republicans in the church go, Rod, they're making everybody gay. Well, you're making everybody gay. Who you pointing to? There's nobody over there but your victims. Thank you, Larry. So again, go to clinical science and look at what sexual abuse does to a person's mind. And what the FBI says, see, he's even admitting that he's got or psychological disorder from sexual abuse. Don't let them do that. Push them away. Point to them and say, you are sexual abuse, FBI, when you do this type of operation. And that's what they're doing. We have what's called clinical psychology. When children grow up or children are acting out, we look at clinical psychology and say, oh, did this happen? Oh, yeah, he had an uncle that used to hit him all the time. Oh, okay, that's what he's doing. He's reliving that. We need to fix that. We need to heal that. We need to love that and push that away. But what they're doing in the government is studying clinical psychology and say, let's abuse this person. And that person will turn out the other side, healed in the name of Jesus, to be because I ended up pointing at a child there. That person will come out a criminal on the other side. And I'm giving them fits because I won't do it. So they're using clinical psychology to adulterate Omar Mateen. And that's where the Pulse nightclub shooting came from. They sexually abused Omar Mateen by trying to force him to be gay. Let me make sure this is on right. Something doesn't right here. Sound real low. Oh, I see. Where the hell did cable go? There's that. Oh my God. Did I drop it? I imagine so. It looks like it's good. I think I'm broadcasting on the screen because it wasn't charging. So, use sexual abuse. They'll use cucking, which is a woman and a man. They use couples, and there's a focus, and we call it witchcraft. They call it witchcraft. Now, what they'll tell you, it's a contract. It's a Ponzi. Say that about Omar Mateen if he didn't cast into being a terrorist or a shooter. But again, he's a victim of government psychological program. They even admitted it. They were, quote unquote, investigating him. 10 months later, because we hadn't been there in 10 months. First off, the local police, state police pick up where you leave off. Where the feds leave off, the state police and local police that are resident in that community will continue to psychologically operate the victim. And in Omar Mateen's case, and I mean, it's experimentation. They love it. It's experimenting on humans. They think it's the coolest thing on earth. Power! They feel powerful. But I figure they use, at a minimum, that sexual adulteration thing. They will it because they know what's going to happen when they flip the trigger. Or when he comes to his senses and go, wait a minute. So instead of going after the government that was trying to make him gay, now there may have been a couple people there that were gay that were moving the government around him and the private sector criminal. So again, they're laughing, going, "Oh, we don't work for a government. We work for this drug dealer that we work for. He works for the government. Vice versa, vice." Because a lot of them laugh, go, "Ha ha ha! We're making you think it's the government." No, it's the drug dealer that works for the government for some of you, but it's still the government. When I was a deputy U.S. Marshal, they had more authority with the government than I did. Because I wasn't in with their little scam, their Ponzi scheme of law enforcement. You think you're working for a drug dealer doing it, you're actually working for the government or Black Lives, say you work Black Lives Matter or something like that, they work together. Again, in every society, there's these people that are criminals that call themselves whatever it is, the protectors of the community. Nothing against Black Lives Matter, but a portion of them work for the government to cause disruption within Black Lives Matter and within the community. But they may work through somebody else. Again, that's how CIA does what. And that's who thought this thing up, but it's a segment of society at this point. Got to find a power cable. Let's see here. That's not going to work. Missing a power cable. I guess I'll have to go in my room and look. So yes, so within every segment of society are these people. Omar Mateen, was not. Again, if you take a gay person and try to make them straight, it'll do the same thing. Omar Mateen by making him gay. It's sexual abuse to force somebody one way or the other. And sexual abuse causes what in this case, again, a Project Artichoke thing, a triggerable violence. So again, they'll point to somebody, yelling at them and going, "See, that person's dangerous." But in reality, they're doing what they know they're doing. And yelling at them is not what they want. They want violence, real violence. I found my power cable. So again, go to clinical psychology. If somebody forces a type of sexuality on you, you will have a disruption. And when you act out, it might be violent. And they know that. That's why they use that. And a lot of people say, "Well, I've only been doing this 2 years." You're talking about 30 years ago. The same people. I mean, you're just, again, a progeny. You're the children of the devils that passed on and went to hell years ago. Remember to heal people, especially if you're a king of Israel. My favorite thing is healing Islamic people as the king of Israel. Well, what do you think? What do you think Solomon did? I'm trying to fix this here. Solomon blessed Israel, but again, who are we to say what is done with God's power on the planet? What they will say, well, you bless the Islamic person and they're terrorists and they're antichrists and da-da-da-da. Well, the church is antichrist. In fact, I healed my enemies for years. And again, me speaking right now, I'm healing some of my enemies. They're going to run so far away from this thing, they're not even going to want to know it exists. And not only me, I'm sure somebody will get busy in this community trying to wake everyone up. What do we call them? You. Oh, there's you. You's going to stop by. Y'all want to know who I was speaking to? They'll stop by, believe me. I'll let you all know what's going on one day. So again, that's how they're doing it. So when what about this community, that community? Again, there's been psychological experimentation for decades on how to make the person you hate commit a crime. Well, we just pranking him and he's a Karen. We just pranking her and she's a Karen. No. That don't work. That cover story, I debunked that and I sent it to hell. Whoa. Yeah, sealed. That's what the spies create. So you think that's all you're doing. Again, I've never been so disgusted. I guess I've been disgusted a lot in my life. However, I was never so disgusted as a man pranked another man and was calling him a boy, was calling a black man a boy. And the guy got mad and he said, bro, it's a prank. It's a prank. It's a prank. I'm like, no, it's not a prank. That's not a prank. You don't call a black man a boy and make him believe he's got to say my bad because you called him boy because it's just a prank. That's not a prank. That's psychological warfare, and that's what they're doing to everybody's minds, thinking that you can call somebody a name like that and degrade a man like that and take him down like that, calling a black man a bro, and then you go, man, it's a prank. It's a prank. It's not a prank. That's disgusting. That's filth. That's demonic. But that's what they're psychologically doing, people, making them believe that this is all just a prank. For some reason, this thing's not showing. I don't know. Everything's looking weird on my computer because it's not bright enough. Maybe I'll try to see if I can make it bright. Oh, it's saying something for power saving. I got to fix that. Let me see, where's my power saving thing? This is horrible. I can't find it. All right, wait, what does that say? Something over there. That's like got all this like spit on it or something. All right, I can't get the good about the. No, that's quick share. Oh, he's on for. There used to be something for power saving. So people think that they're working for one thing and they're working for another, but it's all the beast in the end times. But I mean, there's nothing so nasty as that. I mean, I'll say that's the worst thing I've seen. I mean, obviously it's disgusting putting a child out there as bait. That's disgusting, and that's filth. Again, I'll explain it to you again, as I did before they did that. It takes 1 minute to rape and kill a child. I think that was the fastest one on history. 1.5 minutes, maybe. I mean, they were quick response. The child was dead and already raped. So they fantasize about things, and they cover it up. It could have, I mean, not it could have. It happened in history. They're trying to shift what I say. Where one of the bait children got killed, got raped, they won't talk about it. Because they know what happens to people that talk about it. Because they've been doing it to them their whole life. And if you're in a drug organization and you're laughing because I called it the government, if you're doing it to me, you're the government. That's how that works. Believe you me. Because you wouldn't be doing it long if the corrupt government wasn't protecting you. Because there's people out there that they'd arrest you every day they could until you were put away for the rest of your lives. So, it's the easiest way to get that done. Just call somebody a sex offender or why is he, this is the other one. Why is he living at a hotel if he's not a sex offender? Don't listen to him. They force me to live at a hotel, and then they make up stories about it. Well, how do we force you? You know that you've drugged me. You know you've done what you've done to get into rooms that I've been, all sorts of things. So I have to be very careful how I move into a place. And you thwart that by moving your people into a community and taking over all the apartments that I would generally move into. Meanwhile, you're raising the rents and paying off the bosses to pull some rooms offline. So again, let's look at inflation. Something's going to happen to this nation because of what the rents are going up to. I'm telling you right now. God's only going to take that so long because you all think it's funny. Making the poor people pay more rent while everything else is going down. So again, that's proof that algorithm is a criminal. And the people that use it are part of a racket. Driving the rents up while everything else is coming down. That's not free market. But you don't care, right? Because you don't rent, right? And there's a little something special in your donation bin for that, right? Church, politicians, sheriff's office memorial fund that you all go out and have soirees with. Let me write the check now, Sheriff. I'm good to see you, Sheriff. Go make somebody else a pedophile now. That's how it works, man. That's the world. Rest is fake bullshit. But like I said, I just couldn't believe it. My heart sank. I'm like, all the civil rights work I've done in my lifetime, beating back the devil and all that discrimination, especially for the black community. and here's two men on video that really, it was a polite black man. And he was shopping, and they walk up and say, "Hey, boy, why don't you give me that over there? Hand it to me, boy. You heard him." Or hand it to him. And I'm like, what? I said, no, that's not a prank. And he's like, sir, I'm not understanding what you're saying, sir. So the black man was trying to be very nice to the pranksters. But this is what the government's teaching people with their spycraft operations, that everything's only a prank. So nobody has a right, or you're a Karen if you get upset at the government when they're psychologically torturing you. That's really what's going on. And then he grabs the guy by the neck and shoves him in the aisle, or against the aisle behind them. And he goes, "Man, it's only a prank. It's only a prank. Only a prank? That's not a prank, man. It's a federal crime." But they're not going to do anything because they set you up to it. And they go, "Hee, now we can do things to black people and call it a prank." They tried. You know that ghost group that I tell you about, where they create pedophiles with the government and say they're hunting pedophiles when they're actually pedophiles having sex with young girls, but they're younger men, but they're having sex with underage girls. And they all had sex that night when they were older. I guess the one was like 18, the one was 21, and the man was 25. But when he was like 21, he was having sex with an underage girl. But he was the ghost group that the government set up. And they would bring those girls, those young girls, in front of men while they were operating them. Again, bait girls. But from a private sector perspective, what the government put it together. CIA, private sector criminal cronies, cartels, making people afraid not to say anything about the heroin that was killing the children. But they didn't say anything back then. Now it's fentanyl. So they end up killing that girl that was part of their ghost group that was supposedly hunting pedophiles. But what were they doing? It doesn't spell it out in the news articles. They don't want to, because it gets too close to what I've been telling them for years, including in Santa Fe, what was going on. And no, I don't will it. Not one iota. Because if I willed things, I'd be a millionaire. But I'm not going to will it because I'm willing with the power of Satan. My own will doesn't exist. Your own will doesn't exist. I call it your will, but it's Satan. Because you're moving things outside the will of God. Oh, no, I know what God wants. Well, do you do that? No, I say heal. That's generally what I do. Now, when I curse you off, the same thing, I curse you. I let God handle it. You're not letting God handle it. It's obvious when we see what the churches are doing. So it says they went to sleep together. That's how the news article said it. What do you think happened? The 21-year-old and I think the 18-year-old and the 25-year-old man went to sleep and had sex together. Woke up and killed the 21-year-old girl. Because the 25-year-old man had put it in the head of the 18-year-old and she finally did it. But what do you think's happening? That's revealing what they're doing when they're out there hunting the pedophile with cutie young girls. They're sexualizing their victim. They learned that demonic power from government people and people that learned it from the government. And the one got the other to kill the other. This is real-time Bible, people. What are you focusing on the LGBT community for? Focus on those that are causing them to fall. And, of course, if they're in that fallen state, I'm in a fallen state, and I don't judge it. This is how it works. We're in a diverse world, but we didn't have to be. We'd all be black if we were in the garden. See, when I say that, the white supremacists freak out. Well, if you study where the garden, it's Africa. The entrance to the garden is Africa. Because that's where we began. Human people. Now you'll say, well, I thought you said it wasn't on this planet. No, it's not. But when they went from that spiritual, physical place to this physical, spiritual place, they indwelled bodies in Africa. That's theoretically the cradle of civilization, which would be where Adam and Eve's spirit landed. Now, if you were in Philadelphia speaking to a homeless black man that couldn't live in a shelter because every time he went into shelter, he got cursed and he would get in trouble for what everybody else did. You know, he was the epitome of black, in a shelter while black. Now, if you spoke to him, he would tell you about the book of Adam and Eve. It's actually a Jewish book before you curse it. Now, when it comes to authors, before I read any of these books, this is how this unfolds. They try to say I read it on the internet and then I acted it out or something like that. That's very rare if that ever did exist. Most of the time, that's where I find validity in what God delivers. I forgot where I was. Book of Adam and Eve. The fall. Lost my place there. That's rare. I mean, come on. Got to give me a break. I'm not having a Biden moment. I'm not that bad. Some people can't figure out how I can think anything. God, that's all. They know when they do this to people, they can't even think. I'm not taking some super supplement. Actually, I reduced my supplements down very low. So what happens with Adam and Eve is they fall onto this planet. There's a question as to whether it's really Earth. Oh, okay, the Jewish books. So what happens is they'll say, well, that book wasn't written by that person, it was written by that person. Whatever God wills will happen. So if God gave that book 10,000 years earlier, that's when it was given, but yet was received by like Eliezer Worm. So who's Eliezer Worm? He's like me, but he's had a better life. He's around Jewish people. Actually, I had a better life to be a vegetarian. I'd rather be a vegetarian than eat my grandmother's chicken soup. That's just a fact of life. I'll make imitation chicken soup if I want. But granted, it's a progression. Back then, again, better than kosher is. I don't care what they say. Better than kosher is vegetarian, but I don't force it on you. And that's the reality. If I force, it's like forcing gay or straight on you. If I force vegetarian on you, I'm taking you outside where you need to be, and then you'll have bad luck. What they call bad luck. It's not bad luck. It just curses you. So what happens is you can say that gay people can be straight because they're supposed to be straight, but they can't until they're healed. And again, it's nothing against gay people. You can actually be healed and be gay. There is a fact to that if you track what I'm saying. So if you're straight and they heal you, then you'll be gay. Because your life will be better when like you might find God, and like all these people that are straight and they turn themselves into looking like mutant devils. If you healed them, they might go gay and get rid of all that. So again, we don't know. Again, I said that to say this. We don't know what's actually going on. Only God does, the spiritual. One of the hang-ups they have with that is when Samuel is told that God looks on the heart, it's kind of the idea that that person looks good, but they're actually not that good. So people have trouble with the reverse side of it, where people are bad or actually good, because that's the thoughts of their heart. Like people that need to be healed. You look at people. I gotta close this door. But you look at people that can't. People say, well, he can't get anywhere in life. He's got a heart of gold, but he can't. He has to be healed. She has to be healed, and then they can live their life. Could you be healed? Okay, yeah, you could be healed so you could live your heterosexual life. That would be like the next step. Well, it's kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Okay, you hear me explain how everything exists, why things fall on the floor. It's the same thing. So what's happening in your mind is, he's talking about gay people a certain way. It's fallen for things to fall on the floor. So again, I said that and God highlighted this just about 10 minutes ago. I said Adam and Eve fell. So everything's fallen, correct? So what they're doing is they're hyper-focusing on you being gay, but what that does is it allows them to be superior to you, in their mind at least, and in their system. But only Satan does it. There is no hierarchy in God. There's only hierarchy in Satan. There's no attainment. Again, you have to be able to flow with the Kabbalistic information. It does tell you at a certain point. Again, I'm not Kabbalistic. It's the point of, I sit there with the chart and all that. And they call it the tree of life, but it's just, I'm more out about it. I'm more here understanding it in a more applicable way. Again, it's a science and it works, but it doesn't necessarily work for everybody. But there's parts in there that God puts that out there, and then puts parts in there like this, the Tree of Life literary piece by Luria, I think his name is. Rabbi Luria, I think that's what it was. And in there it says there is no attainment in that place where God is. It's absolutely equality. And again, people wouldn't that disrespect God? No, God's not stuck up, okay? God's like, okay, we're buds. But you understand I'm God, right? No, God's like that either, because you just do. You understand God's God and that you're not. So you have more of a relationship with God. Thank you, brother. More of a closer relationship. Again, the kingdom of heaven is what they call it. Now, the kingdom of heaven doesn't lead to heaven in the Bible. The kingdom of heaven is really where God is. There's heavens that are fallen. I mean, well, you can't come here because you're poor and you haven't accepted Jesus. I mean, and then you could say you haven't accepted Jesus. Well, Jesus himself have accepted people that don't accept Jesus. Jesus knows that sins will not be judged against those that are spiritually blind. Jesus knew that. The Pharisees made fun of him because they hated it, just like the people I speak about. They hate it. That the first shall be last, and the last shall be first, and the last means last, and the first means first. Who's last on the planet? Spiritually blind. They will be first. You're a prostitute today, as long as you're not a devil prostitute, because there's illusions everywhere. But if you're a prostitute today, you're first. And even Jesus said, the harlots go to heaven first. Why? Spiritually blind. They're last. They're first. Now, don't get wrong. He's speaking about the publicans, not the Republicans. God marked them. You're not the publicans, Republicans. You're Republicans. You gotta pay close attention for that stuff. Because they'll say, oh, we're the publicans, even though we're evil, we're Republicans and we'll get to heaven first. Oh, because we hate gay people. I mean, that's how simplistic they are. Wait, is it Sunday today? What day is it? Try to look at the car stop over here. The vehicle doesn't look like, what is a state vehicle? Okay. It didn't look like a state vehicle at first. I was just making sure it was a legitimate car. Well, it looked like an older vehicle. It didn't look like, for some reason, the back of it looked like a, what was that big? Something like older Dodge product, right? So we used to use them for law enforcement, but they were small. Back when they got really small for a while. I guess they're still small. It looks fine. It's a real vehicle. I think stay free. But it looked like I don't even know what they call those, Dodge something. I used to actually pull over, when cop didn't have backup back when. Not every time, but most of the time. And flash my badge. Sit there and drink a cup of coffee in the morning, watching the traffic stop. That's about when they killed me. I didn't do that too long. I started doing that towards the end. Is there a camera in that owl? Somebody has an owl in their window. I think it's a camera. It's looking at the door. I don't remember there's an owl with a camera. So again, there are pet peeves that people have. Don't violate that when you know you're wrong. Well, you're gonna have to work off that whatever that sin. God calls it sin. See, they covered over by saying we're saving people. So all of a sudden, you've got mafia bosses saving people, part of an organization of partners because they have wealth in a business, and I'll write a check to the sheriff for their party fund that they call something else. Moral Service got one of those too. Memorial, you're the one drinking off of it. How's a memorial? I guess it's an Irish funeral. Korean funeral too. They actually, I think, get drunker at Korean funerals than they do at Irish funerals. Because they drink soju. It's like moonshine. I was very careful. I wouldn't drink that stuff too much. I think I had it once or twice. I was like, It's like, and they go, well, I think it's formaldehyde. What? What time are we looking at here? Almost in an hour. Right. So that's actually what's going on in the world. The rest is kind of hit or miss. I mean, there are some real things going on in the world, but you can't use that as a litmus test. They're willing me out. I can't leave a day before God tells me to leave. Even though everybody told you they manipulated something. Yeah, they manipulated. They condemned they acted out as devils until their community was destroyed. Now here, let's go back to Lot. This is a weird part that God just put in my head. So they wanted Lot to leave. They were angry. They hated Lot. Get out of here, Jew boy. Okay, here, again, we look at the Pride Parade and church person. Well, I'm sure the Sodom and Gomorrites were like the Pride Parade. Not necessarily. Again, what was their heart? Again, I find Sodom and Gomorrah in the government and the church forcing other people to whatever sexuality they desire them to be, as well as other things in their life. They adulterate sexuality because that is a very triggerable abuse that usually ends in their victim exhibiting some form of planned violence. So apparently God said, this is how it triggered, that the Sodom and Gomorrites were willing Lot and maybe some other Jews out of their community. Like, what are you doing here? How about you date Popo? So they wanted them gone. And then they end up willing themselves to attack the angels. They wanted to have gay sex with the angels. So it was a forced sexual scenario. So what heterosexuals that are forcing sexuality are doing is saying it's solely about being gay, and it's not. Well, the fact is, again, we get to the time where Jesus is there, and everything changes to a certain degree. We become more aware of what God's up to and has been up to. Same thing as today. Jesus said, Paul said, later on there'll be more information. John said. How'd you like to be John in the Bible? All that work, and they make you synonymous with prostitution. I mean, Satan came up with that. I can see where Satan's work is. That's what they wanted me to be. But again, I don't see prostitution, generally. I mean, I can see it if it's overt, but if I talk to a woman, I don't see her a prostitute. And later I go, oh. Because I'm like, hey, how you doing? You want a smoothie? You like smoothies? But I like that. That's how I like to be. I don't want to see you a prostitute. Now, if you're the ones that are causing prostitution, I want to see you. And so does God. But you're not going to see God. God's sending you all straight to hell. You've already been judged in the Bible, all of you. Because you're them, all of you. They're very violent people. They've killed plenty. Well, it rained this morning, so it's nice and cool. And I got an hour walk in. That's fabulous. I really don't have money for gas. They're trying to push me to spend money. So again, their will is trying to cause me to want to get in my vehicle and drive around and heal your community. But again, you all shortchange me, and I don't have the money to travel around and heal your communities and your cities. I can see now in 2007, that's what I was supposed to be setting up. When I saw Value Place hotels, I was supposed to begin saving money so that I could buy a place and then also have enough money to travel. Again, you kill your own salvation, all of you. So again, being spiritually blind is one thing, and then another thing is killing your own salvation by not allowing the truth to be told. Now, that's a spiritual thing more so than a physical thing, because you could be caused to be a physical thing, but that's Satan's trick. It's the metaphysical people inside. So again, we look at certain communities and say, well, what's wrong with them? And I said that one time, and I didn't say it. I mean, I asked my friend, I said, why and it's true, actually. You can have a genetic propensity to respond to something in a certain way, but it was more psychological. I had no idea what was happening. So did I make you attack me because I wanted to know why black people were having trouble in their community? No, I didn't, because I didn't will it. But that was one of my questions. And I'm saying, historically, they are, tribal. Is this something that, is affecting? Again, the idea is this, though, at this point, even though that's maybe a truth where genetically they're predisposed, a lot of African tribes, to be warriors, it's not without a trigger. So that trigger is put there corruptly to cause psychology to fail so that people would have issues. So again, it's like me. I'm Jewish and I have a propensity to do what I'm doing right now. But the others won't do it. That's why I'm the king. Actually, because of God. God chose me because he could choose me for whatever reason. I erase hierarchy. I erase I'm better than you or you're better than me the best that I can. I try to explain it to everyone. Every gift you have, let's say you get on your bicycle. You ever see those people? They're floating, right? It's not real. It's everything's metaphysical. If I stood there and cursed them, they'd fall off their bike. And quite honestly, that's what happens when they have an accident. Somebody cursed me, fell off my bike. Naples, Florida. Lake Mary, Florida. That wasn't the only thing they were cursed. So they're floating on a metaphysical cloud. All that acrobats and all that. They're healed, and they're in they have got a connection, and it's God. God can have them do that, but God could have you do it. This is the weird part, and you've seen it sometimes. You see just like a woman that's like 300 pounds and she's an acrobat. How is she doing that? It's metaphysics. God loves doing that. So again, everything is metaphysical, spiritual. So people aren't better than other people. They just have a better connection. And it doesn't mean God chose them. It just means God can connect to them. So God would want you to be whatever you needed to be to feel okay about yourself. God would have as much money in your life as you could if it wasn't for the people I'm speaking about. Now, they're getting paid good money, so they don't see a problem with it. They can't see other people and realize that they deserve the same or more money. But that's how money is built. In reality, I used to move that magic for decades. I moved that magic for decades. And I did take the economy up. I didn't always do it verbally on the internet. You'd have a rally because I healed the economy. Or I healed what was taking down the economy away. You don't even have to say it. If I destroy the deep state, the economy goes up. Oh, you're the one cursing the economy. I'm cursing your economy and the deep state economy. But I'm not cursing the real economy. Because that economy is killed by the people that have money now. They're killing the economy, not just government people. But people that have money now are killing the economy that would lift us all up, the other people that are not part of their thing. And that being the beast. So what they do is they laugh because we curse these people, we curse the economy because they're the people that shouldn't have. We know this, and they're bad people, and da-da-da. And what they do is they believe they're supreme race, believe me. And what they do is they cause the curse to be in your money, not in their money. And that's Satan doing that. So God has me come along and curse their money, and then the whole economy drops because there's nothing left. Well, wouldn't it be better? No, it's not better. We tried to make it better by giving you more money. And you all just use that money to do horrific things to people, including myself. So what we're doing now is we're neutralizing the playing field. Stop projecting, all of you. Well, they haven't changed. They just projected something. So that's what's going on. We neutralize the playing field, so their curses that they curse other people to affect them, and they start losing money. Now, they're richer than we are still, but they should at some point hopefully learn some lesson and turn in another direction. Now, they'll say, well, you said I'm going to hell already because I'm an evil sorcerer money man. Why should I stop? Because if you track the Bible, hells get worse. The worse you are, the worse the hell is. And the longer you'll stay. I don't believe hell is forever. But again, I don't even have to think about forever because I know the people here today that are doing what I say they're doing are going to hell for 1,000,000 years. Now, could God give them a reprieve? Of course. God could pardon them. But it's just not looking that way based upon what we know. And it's horrible because I've lived a life. Again, it's what it does is it takes what they did in my life, but yet everyone else's life, and strings it together and puts it in their life, which is like 1,000,000 years. Like you believe, like, okay, I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to get somewhere, and they want you to believe that. They'll bring women around to talk to you while they're trying to work you down. What they'll do is they'll come in you like 40-year-old woman, they'll put 40-year-old women before you. Hot 40-year-old women trying to turn you on, but you never get anywhere. Not even for a real friendship. Then they'll bring a 30-year-old. Then they'll bring a 25, 20, 18. Then they'll be bringing 14-year-old girls before you with the same system trying to crosswire you and trigger you into pedophilia, while the real pedophiles are paying the money to focus law enforcement in another direction, and that includes missing and exploited children. See, I said it. I'm standing on earth. You say it. One day I'll die. We killed him. We finally killed him. Look, I've already lived longer than anybody else that they put under this government bullshit. It's programs that were outlawed in 1970, but they still do it, and they do it unofficially. When they kill me, they're like, see, that son of a gun. I know he's going to hell. Well, you know what? When they tell you you're going to hell, and you know they're that type of devil, praise God. Because hell to Satan is heaven. Or is you in heaven? Now, it's not only sex crimes, but that's where the rubber meets road, where the buck stops. It's not only sex crime. They do it to people, push people into bank robbery, narcotics distribution. And, of course, they did present a child while they were willing sexuality. Now, could the child just appear while they're willing sexuality? Of course. If they have a camera in your life and a young child walks up to a pedophile, they'll will sexuality. Or somebody they want to be a pedophile. Let me rephrase that. So you're working in your office. Let's go back to that captain. They won't let me find a news article. There's a police captain. And he was on it may have been an FBI task force, but he was on a pedophile task force. And he ended up with the largest pedophile collection. That's where they go wrong. If you just had an average pedophile collection, I think they do that now. Since I've said this, I think I said it once before. Now they just have average pedophile collections. If a cop goes into that. But that's where they messed up. He had like the biggest pedophile collection of anybody in history. I said, you son of a... Because I know what's going on. I know what they did to him. They probably used LSD or something like that. That's how you change somebody's personality into that. But you also use spells. And they use, what do they call that thing? The woman thing. When she's projecting it. Ussy hour. It's Ussy hour. That way the kids won't know what I'm talking about. Actually, they do. If they're 12 years old, you're probably having sex, right? I mean, this is what they're turning the world into. And it's not the LGBTQ people. It's Marge and her church, as they will everybody else, to be a pedophile that's not politically identical to them and won't forgive their crimes for all the money they stole from their donor class of people. That's real. So he's going to work every day, right? And the other women are turning him on and making him believe one day he's going to be with one. Meanwhile, they're doing funny things around him. There's a CIA officer that's watching him that sent the message that we're not keeping that guy. And they psychologically and most likely physically took him down. Now they're getting in the middle. My voice might change because they know. See, this is the problem with them in law enforcement. They know how to manipulate their victim to cause different voice patterns, different statements. I mean, you don't know how many times when I'm tweeting, even without their hacking, that I have to adjust my tweet because it's not what I want to say, it's what they want me to say. Like if you go back through, and I think it's funny sometimes because they expect me to say what they want me to say, and then when it comes out, it's not what they want. It's because I dictate it and then I change it. But go back through the dictation and see how I change it. Because when it came out, they possessed my mind into saying what they wanted me to say, where they could say it means something else. So that's also going on. But they psychologically and physically took that person down, possibly and most probably psychologically or surreptitiously drugging him. Again, get some LSD, wipe it on his keyboard. These people are psycho, man. If you talk to, I don't know if they would talk, but some of the people I work with, if you talk about the people that I'm speaking about in our office that were like that, if you ask them, would that person wipe LSD on Larry's keyboard? I'm like, 100%. Probably did it. That's all it takes, man. One of your coworkers going dirty for the CIA and wiping LSD on your keyboard. But it has to be a low dosage. You don't notice. Increase the dosage. It'll just increase over time. Every time you touch it, that'll become more residual in your body. I believe the thing said it was LSD on John, but I don't know. Is that the thing in the beginning said it was LSD that was used on Jonathan Luna. Even if he didn't kill himself, just to be in that predicament. No way to tell. Back then, we definitely weren't going to be able to tell. Now, I think you can tell, but I don't think they look. Or though you may have changed it, I don't know, and of course you won't tell them. But I'm into telling people everything we can do, so they're afraid to do it. Again, you look at the stupid crimes, and you're like, you mean you didn't know? So again, I believe we should have a campaign of telling people what we can identify. It doesn't matter what's on their computer. We can identify everything. Well, generally. I mean, they're erasing things for some people. Again, the police department's memorial fund? Oh, sure. How much you want? 10,000? Okay. Come back next year, I'll give you that 10,000. It's fine, children. I don't know if they'd let it go that long. But something like Gates, they let Gates go if he does the right thing. He doesn't have to pay money, even though he has it. They want something different from him. Manipulate him politically, legislatively. That's how they got it. That's how they get the Patriot Act recertified every time. They blackmail everybody. Well, doesn't it make us safer? No, not really. They need maximum intrusion because they're paranoid about their crimes. You all wanted to do it, then you did it, right? Again, I didn't kill 2 state troopers. I merely repelled the thing that was killing me. Now, could it be that direct curse or some other curse? Yeah. God curses over you. I don't. Again, I hear like, I can understand that God heals us because you're a devil and you don't have any power. But I can't believe that God's cursing us because you're the devil. You know, see, again, they want to have it their way every time. Again, if God kills 2 state troopers because I know you're operating witchcraft and spycraft and psychological torture to force people into crime and death and everything else, and violent mass shootings, and God kills 2 state troopers in Pennsylvania, what good is it if I don't tell you what it is? What are you going to say? It's Black Lives Matter cursed you? Is that what you're going to tell yourselves all day? That it has nothing to do with you harming people with psychology and blocking their life so they don't have a job, so it'll be a bank robber for you? Now, I'm not telling you it's those officers, but it could be. There's state troopers here doing it right now to me. Every state I was in, they were doing it. God's work is almost useless without a prophet. Oh, because you said it that way, you're not a prophet now. Only the people that say Trump's going to get elected. They're the only prophets. Whew, what a day, what a walk. Hopefully I heal a little bit more. I could have been healed right away if he kept them away from me. I don't know what they were drugging me with, but they were doing it. They're trying to do it again. That's why they move in this close. See what they can move forward. So again, the Bible does tell you that if I don't tell you, how can you know? So again, that's the problem with what God has been doing over the years. The word doesn't get out. Because they'll say, well, it's the gay people. If people weren't gay, then state troopers wouldn't get shot. In fact, you'd probably have a gay state trooper. But it's not. Well, I know what world they live in because they tried to put me in that world. So I can read it and read it and read it. I can still read it. I can connect to a gay person faster than I can connect to anybody else in the world because that's where they put me. I can actually connect to trans people. It's weird, but because I'm not trans. I connect to women sometimes and I feel their boobies. Same thing's happening with trans women. So I connect to women, we discuss things, and sometimes they weird it out. It's in the mind. I don't know who it is, but very rarely do I ever know who it really is. But because you've cursed my life, for my own life, I have less vision than I do for the world, because that's where the majority of their curses are. But they'll curse my vision for the world because I'm conning everybody, so they want it to be screwed up. Say, see, he's not really, he can't really see, that kind of thing. But it'll be weird. The woman will be in the mind. She's like, because she'll be feeling the other way, because we joined in mind, but some of the sensations that we're experiencing will go back and forth. So like, wait a minute, there's a woman here. There me. Okay, it's me. Go ahead. Well, I'm like an empath to the millionth power. I used to cry a lot, but that's over. God took the cry away. We're taking you all out. So I was a preacher sowing tears, but they wouldn't let me go anywhere or get anywhere. You can't get your life into a Christian preacher life unless you let the person move in there without women sexualizing him. So I go to a church, I get sexualized. Because the same bait people are there. I go to work, I get sexualized. Oh yeah, let's go through this one. So I'm in the government and I'm asleep. I'm like the biggest idiot in the world. And they're going, Larry, age doesn't matter. Oh, these guys are so nice with me. They're trying to get me somewhere. But they're planting the seeds to get with younger and younger women. Because it couldn't work. They all knew, I'm like in high school still. Okay, a couple grades below, a couple grades. No, I didn't. We used to be. I think when I was in high school, it was like a grade below and a grade above. Otherwise, you don't date. That's the way it used to be. So I'm still there. I'm in the Mars. I'm thinking I gotta find a woman, a grade above or a grade below. The Marshal Service people, the FBI's having fits, the CIA's having fits because I won't do what they want me to. Say you launch this attack for my coworkers because I have no other social life. I go home, I drink like a bottle of wine. Sunday I go to church. That's about it, you know. And I'm already separated or something. So they all start this. Well, you know, and I go on assignment, and I thought the guy was real. He's like, yeah, I'm dating a 24-year-old. You know, everywhere I go, yeah, young women. Now these guys are all like directors, associate directors, inspectors. Some are retired probably. With a great retirement job because they did me like that. They still tried it. I looked at the woman like, oh, you son of a gun. Because I finally figured it out. They're full of shit. They're just trying to get me to go with a young girl. So they can, like if I go with a 24-year-old, you know, and date her, I have a pedophile tendency if I'm like, you know, 38 years old. Meanwhile, when I'm in Santa Fe, there's guys that are, you know, that age and older with younger girls, and they're just having sex. And it's okay because that's healthy. You're consulting adults. See, that's how they screw the mind. So one person's not okay because they're trying to date somebody. The other person's okay because they're having sex. Again, the Ghost Group in Santa Fe, they were okay because they were operating the let's hunt the pedophile game and bringing the young girls around the person they're trying to sexualize into pedophilia. And they end up murdering the one. Now, they spoke about it. She, you know, as bad as it is in her life, she's blessed a woman. She's going to have a horrible life. I think she had enough psychological issues to have that be a psychological sentence. And I think you could point at the man as being the manipulator. So I'm going to look in on that. That young girl in New Mexico, see if you can offer her something. And they all might plead guilty. I don't know. But what I would do is I would offer her a psychological sentence, I think, because I think she was manipulated and really did have. And I met a lot of girls in Santa Fe as far as talking to them and women, and they have a lot of psychological issues. So again, but she seemed to be a little bit further, and this man was manipulating her. And again, if you're with a man and you're a woman, and you're having sex with another woman, that's why those threesomes are very scary, because you end up with, you know, a murder sometimes. So again, that is what it is. But these things that they do are horrific. Horrific. So that captain, he was pushed into that by somebody. He was psychologically operating. Again, it's, if you haven't had it happen to you, and again, they'll do it to you lightly, so you'll believe that you'll believe a lie, and you'll see that it's you'll think that it's okay because you made it through. Again, they tried to use that on me over the years, that I made it through, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to accept that. We got John Luna dead. We got Bustamante dead. We got, what's that guy's name? Deputy Director Dudley dead. You know, and then I learned about Bruce. I don't know if they focused me on Bruce after I started speaking about Bob, but that happened one day. Bruce came up. Bruce Schultz. So when I connect, at least then I had a little more connection ability, I think, also. I connected to Bruce on during the suicide and prior to it. And he's drugged. Because remember, I went through it. And that's why he committed suicide. Now, his wife saw a lot of things, but why did she see it? See, this is what I was telling you. Yeah, you can point to psychological illnesses, but they're causing it. It's not real. It's from torture and drugging. I mean, as many times as I've healed myself, as many times as they've come back when they saw me heal, and I'm sure they articulated some dangerousness, I mean, it's real. There's nothing else that they're doing. I become dangerous when I heal. Well, for people that want somebody to be discredited, maybe so, but that's not the government's lawful operation. Oh, probably at least 10 times. And when I say they went away, it means it minimized. It doesn't mean it went away. In other words, I'm still isolated. I'm still being played. But there's a point where they return to apply additional damage to their victim. They just did it the other day. They just returned. They saw me picking up. They saw my finances coming up. They saw me get a handle on spending money. They saw all that. That's why they're here. You tell me God isn't going to destroy whoever's doing that because they're causing everybody else to have the bad life. That's why they say in the Bible, don't judge anybody until that time when Jesus comes back, because then we'll know everything. And this is part of it. I'm part of what is telling people what's going on. Again, Haddon Spurgeon is like embarrassed. Him and I are good buds. When I was first in the church, I'm a true believer, right? I used to study Haddon Spurgeon, and I'm sure I had a connection. I didn't connect to anything back then. I mean, I got turned on by these bait women. I didn't know what it was. I mean, I'm working in the Marshal Service. Women trying to turn me on all day. And then in Oklahoma, they try to operate me to make me believe by somebody who's friendly to me. And they introduce somebody that's friendly. That it was just that I was a hot-looking guy in a uniform or something like that. Look, I was overweight. This woman was gorgeous. Had everything going for her life. One day it's going to be a big attorney. Probably a big attorney today and still does it. They call it bait, but you have to understand what they're doing. It's CIA spycraft. And they're attempting to sexualize their victim to become who they say they are in the beginning. There is evidence that they began while I was at Fort Campbell. And they did that at the, what was that fairgrounds? Clarksville Fairgrounds or something like that. Had my orange Challenger. It's how they create a stalker. They sexually turn on a man from a distance, focus on him, and then ignore him. And then they block anybody else that would get in there. Not guaranteed. Not guaranteed. Granted, back then, being a 12 Bravo, you weren't finding many women. But yet my relationships with women were great outside of what they were doing. And always are. But they won't let anything happen. Because I'm meant to be married to a woman, have children, go to church, be in church preaching. Again, you're not going to attain that life without being let in. But who owns it now? Satan. So who's actually attaining that life? This is an explanation of why they look like angels of light and ministers of righteousness. Only Satan's people are getting in the church and wiring in. Now, if you got some money, you may be able to stay up above some of what's going on the planet. Not live in an extended stay or be forced to live in an extended, because I got a Ford apartment. They just went, wow. And there are security concerns. Again, they're not playing me. One side may think they're doing that, but what they want me to do is to drop my guard. The next thing you know, I won't be able to walk again. So again, one side might think they're just playing me or pranking me and making me afraid to move an apartment, but there are security concerns. They're real. And the government has violated every ethic and every law that it could possibly be in relation to that. So that's the reality of what's going on. The rest is an illusion. Even if it is a real case, it's an illusion. So the only way they're bringing drugs in is somebody is telling them where to go. And it makes sense that they're monitoring law enforcement phones somehow. And, people who do that would be Silicon Valley. But CIA and NSA could do it also. FBI could do it, but not at the level that I would be describing. A strategic operation versus a tactical operation. I imagine you have some capability, but not the capability that they would need to move those drugs. So they would, what they need to do is know everybody, or just about everybody that's, again, I'm sure some loads could get popped. They would just have to know where anybody is within, a mile radius or a 10-mile radius, or I guess it'd be probably like a 10-mile radius at least. Pull off the road, go to the hotel. Because 10 miles ahead's a cop. So all you see is them pull off the road 10 miles early. You don't see anything. And they're in the hotel for the night. Now, again, hotels can be tricky because they check license plates. So again, they would probably just tell them to take a different road. It could be AI too. AI could be leading them, knowing where all the cops are because they monitor the phones, the apps, whatever it is. Again, I don't trust a contractor. I mean, what's going on in the world, a contractor could have sold out the United States government and be getting, millions from the United States government to design something. And then they got a back door. The cartel plugs into the back door through whoever it is. I mean, it's all personal gain is what they're looking at. I was mistaken in the government. I thought some people were real, that there was some sort of protection. And that's part of what they play on. I said to you that they'll make you think you're investigating something with them. I mean, I think everything I did was that way. And they try to use it against me, including the Austin bombing work. Destroyed any possibility of having friends in New Mexico as soon as I tried to help Austin PD with the Austin bombing. I don't know if they saw any of my tweets, but I told them, look, and I said this about 11 o'clock, and I think they found the guy about 3. I said, when you go, you need to bring every single person, I think I said, needs to have those body bunkers. You can't do it without body bunkers. And 3 hours later, they went without the body bunkers. Thank God nobody was killed, but he detonated a bomb, and boom, everybody was hit by shrapnel or something like that. But next thing you know, they're torturing me because I helped you. Can't tell you who they are, but they're most likely law enforcement or law enforcement related. Definitely related to Home Depot. I mean, they owe me billions of dollars. I can't even say millions anymore. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.